Fake hero, Tim's illusions undone. Neon justice burned by the sun. Cryptex and she boogies expose the ghost on air. In cyber truth, nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Fake juror, digital ghost in disguise, playing chords in electric lies. Truth bleeds out through the fiber line. Cryptex and boogies caught the glitch in real time. Gretchen 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 real time. Voice with no face, echo in delay. Answers too perfect, rehearsed in decay. She boogie smirks, Tim, your mask just slipped. The matrix cracks, the hoax is flipped. Mowbray knocks it slipped. Their host is flipped. Veritation failed, integrity lost. Fake hero, Tim's illusions undone. Neon justice burned by the sun. Cryptex and she boogies expose the ghost on air. In cyber truth, nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Case closed.
Hello everyone, please let me know if my sound is
Una cara de niño
okay.
bueno que es imposible pegarle. Se ve que es buen chico.
¿Por qué
pero-
ibas a pegarle?
Soccer. That's How are you guys?
I was like, if this is going to be in that language, I'm fucked. Hey, everyone.
How are you, Shibugis? How are you? Thank you so much for being here.
Wonderful. So glad to be here. I was dying to talk about this as soon as, you know, the shit was popping off on Twitter.
Cool. So you are the SME, the subject matter expert. So you're gonna be the one behind the wheel. You're gonna be the boss tonight. Before going into the subject, let me say hello to the guys here at Chibugs for 1 second. So we have Mother of Dragons, quietly concerned, it's on the floor. Belly May, how are you? Theory, how are you, Theory? You are attracting a lot of people, Shibugis. Jamie, how are you, Jamie? Nice to have you here. Let me see. Dandy Lioness, how are you, Dandy? Daisy Link, Goddess is here. Hiwata, my moderator number 1. Happy to have you here. All Eyes, how are you, All Eyes? Nice to have you here. Very Battlestar Galactica, yeah. Shibooks is the cyborg number 1 for sure. Spooky's here. Oh my god, this is a VIP chat tonight. So cool. Sweet dude Shivi on the floor. A lot of people tonight. So an addicted co-conspirator, of course, as usual, one of the usual suspects. Kelt, of course, Chelsea, a lot of people. So thank you guys for being here. So tell us a little bit about what are we talking tonight, Shibugis. And first of all, thank you again for being here. Thank you for accepting the invitation. So I'm so happy to be with you here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so this is my first time on yours, huh? So super stoked because I was hoping I was getting like an AI song or video. I got a video. It's amazing. And I didn't know I was going to be like the host with the most tonight, but we'll see what I can do. But I'm really happy to be here. Really happy to talk to you guys. Basically, what's going on is you all know about the Lauren Matthias hidden true crime drama bullshit that's been going on. All that shit with I have a stalker, no you don't, fake victim bullshit. Well,
Amber Heard.
yeah, in the midst of all that, like when I was talking with people like All Eyes and Spooky on Twitter discussing all this mess, I said to myself, like, it makes me even wonder if the rumors were true that one of Lauren from Hidden True Crimes, like helpers, really did pretend to be the juror that this nobody writer brought on his show. This is him. Okay, I guess the show is called The Unsolved. I had never heard of him or seen the show a day in my life prior to him popping up and saying, hey everyone, I have a juror from the Delphi trial, right? All we had at that point as far as jurors from the Delphi trial had been one juror who spoke up on the Murder Sheet podcast. That one, the juror that appeared on the murder sheet, I want to be very clear, pretty sure that was a real juror. Have no reason to think otherwise. Granted, murder sheet lies all the time, so who knows? But that seems legit, right? God help her. that juror was an idiot. But anyway, that being said, this was like the second juror supposedly to pop up. And so this random guy, Tim, says, hey, I've got the second juror. They've come to me, reached out to me. I've been emailing them back and forth. I've vetted them, blah, blah, blah. And everyone was kind of like, wait, what? Like, if a juror was going to come out again, another one after Murder Sheet, why the fuck would they go to this? He's a high school sports writer. He's not like a journalist. He doesn't have a big channel. Like, I guess he's got history in writing, whatever. We'll hear his whole spiel. But all the cranks were like questioning that. And if you're new here to Cranks, Cranks are the group that are behind the Free Richard Allen movement, essentially. We all strongly believe that Richard Allen is 100% factually innocent in the murders of Abby and Libby, the Delphi murders. So, anywho, we started questioning it, and he decided to provide some proof, and part of that proof was some notes, and they were notes supposedly from the juror, and immediately it looked weird to us. And I guess we can kind of watch the interview now, because Cryptex actually held it and kept it. He had it this whole time because this guy Tim had taken it down from his channel after getting a bunch of backlash. So he only had this one episode, part 1 of 3, but there was only one part. But Cryptex luckily had it. So we're going to watch it and kind of like commentate on it. And then we can kind of discuss the Lauren Hidden True Crime Grayson of it all after.
Sure. That was a great introduction. Very clear. I agree with you. We're gonna see the notes that he's gonna present in that video. I think he deleted that video at one point, and maybe it was because the notes are really suspicious. You know, the notes are very clean. Very clean. It's something that you don't expect for someone to write in that way when you are in the middle of a process, because everything goes very fast. Everything moves very fast. So those notes seems to be like prefabricated. So since the beginning, we were very suspicious about that. And let's talk about it. So maybe I'm gonna play the video. You can raise your hand, she boogies, when you want me to stop. So I'm just gonna play it. So let's go with the flow here.
Indiana, near the Monon High Bridge. Most of the people who are viewing this video are familiar with my page and or this case. A gentleman by the name of Richard, well, I say gentleman, not much of a gentleman after what he's been convicted of, but Richard M. Allen has been convicted of these crimes, and he is currently in jail for, I believe it's 130 years now for these crimes that he's been convicted by a jury of his peers of. And today,
Just gonna say that this video is like it was uploaded like 4 months ago, just to have a sense of the timing here. So it's 4 months ago.
on my channel, I've been lucky enough to have a juror in the Delphi case come forward to me and answer questions for me, answer questions for my viewers, and answer questions on behalf of the victim's family members that they might have questions about. And we're going to do this in a multi-part series just because there was so much information I had to go through in order to make even this first video for you. And it's a lot of stuff to go through, to edit, to filter through, and to package it in a way I could present it to all of you. I know you're all excited to see what the juror had to say, which is going to be coming up here momentarily. But before I do, I want to make a couple of things really, really clear and go over a few things. Number one, this is somebody who had, as a juror, she is a female. She's not the same juror that was interviewed by the Murder Sheet podcast. Okay. And I know a million of you out there have a million questions already. How did you vet this juror? How do you know it's not just somebody making stuff up? I have been a journalist since 1996. Right now, I'm primarily a sports journalist in the state of Illinois, in the northern suburbs. My first name is Tim. I don't like putting my last name out there because I'm not in this for fame. I'm not in this to be on the news. But I've won just about every award for journalism in the books in the state of Illinois you can imagine. First place, Best News Series, Illinois Press Association Awards, Northern Illinois Newspaper Association Awards, dating back to 1996. I started off doing basically investigative journalism. I did government reporting, you name it, I've done it. Okay.
Okay, so now that he's like repeating all his credentials and stuff, it seems like he does have like a lot of history in journalism and a lot of writing. I'm curious, did he have any very well-known pieces? Was he ever working for like a big organization? Because the first question that comes up for me is still, why would a juror go to this guy? Like, what would prompt a juror to seek out this rando's channel? Does anyone know if he had been well known prior to? Because I know at this point he was a sports writer for high school sports.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see in the chat. At one point, we are gonna hear he's gonna say that he had some publications like in 1997, so long time ago. I think he's kind of serious. I don't think he's malicious. We're gonna see. I think he got played, but by that girl pretending to be a juror, and maybe yeah, he got just played. He's a little bit like a jerk, I would say, and I don't have anything against him. But at one point, I was communicating with him via email, and the last communication I had with him was not very friendly. Let's say the way he answered back to me was like, you're nuts. You are. Anyway, so I stopped communicating with him. I really, sincerely, I think he's not malicious, and maybe he got played by that person. Let's see. I want to see what's your opinion here, guys, and you, Shebooks. Since the video we are watching right now is a reaction I made to his video, at some point I'm gonna talk as well. So sorry for that. But anyways, do you want me to continue or? Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
That's my background. I've been featured in the biggest newspapers in the state of Illinois and continue to be to this day, including the Chicago Sun-Times, the Chicago Tribune, the Northwest Herald, the Daily Herald, all kinds of downstate newspapers in Illinois here for a long time now. So I take my work very, very seriously. A lot of you are probably wondering, well, why not just have this journalist on the air, use her voice, talk to her? The answer to that is because I'm doing what she is comfortable with. When she came forward to me, I wanted to make sure that A, I protected her anonymity, and that B, everything that we did and that we answer here in these videos is on her terms, okay? This is a person that has a regular life. This is a person that did not expect to have to look at crime scene photos of 2 dead children. This is a person that was sequestered in a hotel for over a month, away from their family, away from their friends, not allowed to watch television about the case. You don't understand unless you've been in that person's shoes what that.
It's a lot of protocol, but interesting information so far is that the juror that is providing answers to him is not the same juror that was talking to the murder shit. So far, that's the most important information. So let's continue.
That does to a person, how that changes a person. And it's important that everybody, before I get into this video, understands that, okay? It's very, very important. Okay, here, from one of the emails that this juror sent me, says, I would like for you to know that all of the jurors selected for this trial are normal, everyday people. We have our own lives. Going into this was like a wild dream, sequestered, leaving your life behind to determine someone else's fate. You have a couple of days to get everything in order, pack everything you need. Tell your employer you're not going to be at work for you don't know how long. I sat in my hotel room almost every night with my notebook writing the pros and cons. I looked at this man, Richard Allen, and tried to find everything I could to find his innocence. The days we sat in the courtroom listening to the witnesses, watching videos, and watching Richard Allen, if you weren't there, you just have no idea. The guilty side of my notebook outweighed the not guilty side. There was too much, too many things that didn't add up. You sit on those hard chairs day after day, looking at crime scene photos of 2 little girls, autopsy photos, their clothes and bags as exhibits. You keep thinking, why? How could someone do that? I come home after it's all over and I can't function. I need silence. I need someone to talk to. I'm depressed. I can't sleep. I can't go to work. I don't think I will ever be myself again. And forgive me if I'm getting choked up while I'm reading this, because in the chaos of all the true crime community, so many people forget that these are real human beings. This isn't a game. These are real lives. Anyway, this juror says, being a juror for this type of trial, you have to be strong. I really wish this man's supporters were in that courtroom. There's so much the public doesn't know about. Thanks for being the great journalist that you are. Now, the other question I know.
Sounds like a lot of drama, right?
Sounds like some bullshit because some supporters were in that courtroom, motherfucker. Anyway.
It's a little bit too much. Too, I don't know, too suspicious. Very dramatic, very melodramatic. So let's continue.
I know a lot of people have, I'm sure, has to do with how did I vet this juror? Well, there's a lot of ways that I vetted this juror to the best.
Yeah, just 1 second here because I love the spooky Sokoke comment. Never trust flattery. Exactly. And that's an element to say that, in my opinion, he got played, but great comment, Spooky. Sorry, I had to stop to read the Spooky's comment.
Of my
Wait.
ability. Okay?
Great comment and great
And
picture.
one of those ways.
That's all. I just wanted to comment on her picture.
What picture?
It's from the documentary. It's so good.
Yeah, cool.
Her
Okay,
Kim Kardashian moment. Okay, bye.
sure. Let's continue here.
Was seeing documents that this woman sent to me, including her information she was sent to report for jury duty, information after she was done serving that showed how much money she made from this, her notes, and even more importantly, and she does not want me to share this with people, she sent me a photograph of her with all the other jurors' faces blurred out. And a photograph was taken of the jurors after the trial was over, I believe it was. And Judge Fran Gull standing in the background, who was the judge on the case, and the bailiffs. And so I got to see that photograph to vet that as well. So
what do you think about that, Shivox? Is that significant or not? That
What
could
part?
be that person sent him a picture where she was supposedly there in the courtroom with the judge and the other jurors. That could be just a random picture saying that, hey, this is me there. You know what I mean? So could be a fake stuff.
Right. It could be fake. It's one of the items we never see. I don't know how appropriate that is for a bunch of jurors to take a picture with all the court staff and the judge. It's a little odd. But that being said, it could easily have been a photo, for all we know, from the murder sheet juror. Part of me wonders if, like, the jury summons he received and all that stuff was recycled from the actual juror that appeared on murder sheet, but I don't know.
Sure. That being said, let's continue.
what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to pull a few of those things up just to show everyone that I actually can show you. Because again, there's a lot of things that I can't show you. So let's go ahead here and do that real quick, as fast as I possibly can. First of all, I'm going to show you here again, and some of you saw this on the video that I showed previewing this. This would be the Allen Superior Court Certificate of Jury Service. Shows the days that this juror served. It's dated November 12th, 2024. And I'll put some more stuff up here for you. And bear with me, I have to click on these things. This software only allows me to upload a certain number of photos at a time. So it makes it a little bit more challenging and difficult for me to kind of keep the flow of this video going while I'm doing those things. So here we go. And this is the original juror notification that this woman received, letting her know that she had to report for jury duty. And the state of Indiana versus Richard Allen. And before this case started, this specific juror tells me that she, believe it or not, despite living in that state, didn't know much of anything about this case. So there are people out there who aren't clinging to this.
I don't believe that at all. At all. Sorry, but I'm not gonna buy that. Of course they knew. Come on. Of course they knew.
Case and following it 24/7 like some of us are or have been for the past.
Not Cryptex commenting on Cryptex commenting on Tim. Okay, bye.
Did you want to say anything about that, Shibu?
No, I just think it's funny that, like, you're commenting on a video you were commenting on. But that's true, though. I mean, I can believe, because apparently they found some jurors that weren't super aware of Karen Reed, right? So it is possible to find juror members that just don't pay attention to true crime, don't watch the news. But it is odd because it is, in that area, undoubtedly the biggest murder case in the history of that area. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't buy it, but yeah, could be. Could be. So let's continue.
How many ever years? And I think that's important to know that this juror went into this with an unbiased, open mind. Okay. I think that's important, especially for the people that'll probably be criticizing this juror. And again, you know, there'll probably be people that are criticizing me too and saying, you know, oh, you're just doing this for money, for fame.
I mean, I don't blame the jurors, but they knew something, of course, about the case. I don't buy that they didn't have any information, zero information. Come on. this case was very mediatized. So I'm not buying that. It's just my opinion. I may be wrong, but I don't buy it.
And I want to let those people know that in the history of my channel, okay, and I'm not making this up, I have receipts. I could have gone to news agencies with this. I could have gone a million different places and probably profited off of it. But in the history of my channel, as many videos, and there's 100 and something of them, I don't think I've made more than about $500. And I put thousands of hours of my own blood, sweat, and tears just trying to produce leads, produce information, things like that, which has happened. Even in this case, for those of you who are new to my channel, my work in this case led to somebody from the Indiana State Police interviewing somebody who they thought could be a potential witness at the time in this case. So this is something I take very seriously, okay? This isn't just let's make a channel, let's make money, et cetera, et cetera. And it's important that people know that. Now let's get into a couple of other things and then we'll get to the questions. So thank you for being so patient.
Yeah.
Again, there's a ton of information to go through. There's a ton more information in subsequent videos I'm going to go through with you. And let me show a couple of things here. And this is going to be some of this juror's notes. Okay.
All right, these are the notes in question, everybody. This is the key to the whole shebang, okay? Pay attention to the notes. They're very well written. They're highlighted. I don't know how jurors have time to highlight when they're taking notes, but I digress. And it's very neat. It's definitely a female writing. You can tell that much. And then we can kind of get into the info they have written there. But I do believe Oksana, if you guys know Oksana, she went to the Delphi trial. She also went to the Karen Reed trial. She's amazing. She was seated at this trial and said that all the jurors used legal notepads, okay? All the jurors used legal notepads, not spiraled notebooks. So weird thing number one. Okay, go.
Yeah, great point. As DB says, this is literally someone transcribing notes, in my opinion. I think it's our opinion. I don't think there's one single person here disagreeing with you, DB, for sure. But I have a question for you, Shebooks. When you say that this is 100% a woman, what do you mean? That we men, we write like crap?
Like
Thank
ass.
Thank you
like
for that.
Straight ass.
Thank you for that. Okay, let's continue here.
Okay. One of the things here that I hadn't seen, because I wasn't in the trial, I haven't had the chance to go over all of the transcripts, is in this juror's notes, it says Richard Allen said, and I believe this was to one of his mental health counselors, Richard Allen said he, quote, I don't even know if I could say this. I don't want the video to get to get flagged or anything, that he did something unspeakable to his sister once. Okay. So all the people out there who are claiming that Richard Allen is some innocent, average, everyday guy who's never done anything wrong, apparently during the...
Okay, I didn't go to the trial. I heard that in one of his confessions, he had confessed to touching his sister. All eyes, can you confirm that? Do we know what confession was that? Like a documented confession? Was that like a call? They're saying it's testified to the fact that he did that. No, it's not. No, it's not. In some random confession, supposedly, allegedly, he said that he did this along with starting World War III and all this other bullshit. Hey, Oksana, I was just talking about you. But it was never testified to the fact that Richard Allen touched his sister. That's a fucking bold-faced lie. It's just some of the bullshit he was spewing when he was in psychosis. Okay, go. You can go. Sister, oh, and the sister came out and denied it, that ever happened. So take that for what you will.
I dropped the link also if Oksana or All Eyes want to join us. So let's continue.
This trial at some point, it was testified that Richard Allen basically fondled his sister at some point, and that he has a, quote, sex addiction. Richard Allen is taking God.
The word he didn't want to use is molested. I don't think it's a bad word to use in a channel, but anyways.
Into his heart now. This is the juror, some of the jurors' notes, just to show you what's being documented by this female juror, what she's thinking. Richard Allen said the girls died in order for him to find God. Richard Allen admitted he was an alcoholic, and she noted he exhibited a bizarre smile. Halidol was introduced on 5/2/23, and that's one of the things the juror discusses with me when I asked her questions. She said, you know, everybody says that these confessions were coerced because of the Halidol and because of the drugs he was receiving. But in fact, many of Allen's confessions were before those drugs were ever introduced to him at all.
I think people go too hard into that Haldol or drug-induced situation here. To me, that's not the point. The point is that he was in that almost solitary confinement situation during more than 1 year. So regardless of the administration of any drug to Richard Allen, the confessions are questionable, in my opinion, because of the confinement situation there. Your mind is not going to be in the right place. So you can say Haldol at this date or this date was being administered to Richard Allen, but that's not the point, in my opinion. The point is that he was in that situation, which is very similar to solitary confinement during more than 1 year. This is not normal. The guy was not sleeping. I think the lights in that cell were on full time. So you don't sleep well. You have a sleep deprivation. You are far away from your family. You don't have contact with the outside. You cannot see your lawyers in a normal way. So it's not because of the Haldol thing. It's because the whole isolation. That's why I think the confessions are really questionable. It's not because of the Haldol. So there's a misconception here, in my opinion.
Okay. And that's an important thing for people who think he's innocent to know and to be aware of, that a lot of his confessions were before they started medicating him. Okay. Because there's a common misperception out there.
I agree with Fishy. Yeah, exactly. It's that at one point he had to be prescribed with Haldol. So the state of mind was not there, was not right. 100% with you.
Or misconception about that. What else? He didn't initially want the Haldol.
So I just want to say, like you perfectly nailed that when you were commenting on that originally, that obviously the state of mind that he was in to even be injected with the Haldol involuntarily was obviously a state of psychosis. So it didn't take Haldol to produce false confessions, clearly. Also, to this day, Richard Allen is not okay. To this day, Richard Allen will never be the same man that he was before he went into Westville. He is permanently damaged by the amount of solitary and the way it broke him down, and then the administering or the introducing of Haldol to him. So, I mean, it very, very obviously had a detrimental effect on him, and it will continue to for the rest of his life. So I just want to input that.
Good point.
At all, according to her notes. He was paranoid, confessed again, said, quote, "I will kill everyone. When I die, I will kill everyone." Then 5/3/2023 confession. He made a confession about how he killed Abby and Libby, drank beer that day or that morning, laid in wait, saw the girls, followed them onto the bridge, said he was doing something with his gun, and he thinks that's when the bullet fell out. And let me add another image here for you. Bear with me. Just some more notes that I can show you here. And then we have some of her notes from Wednesday, October 30th. And again, I'm just showing you all this before I get to the questions here in a minute, to show that I've done a lot of research. This person took meticulous notes, etc. Wednesday, October 30th. First witness, Monica Walla. Clinical psychologist, third party, Westville Department of Corrections, Exhibit 302 resume, Dr. Walla, observation of Richard Allen, suicide observation, Richard Allen, 4/4/23 confessions. Am I dead? Can I die now? I need to talk to God. Richard Allen doesn't know why he did it. He lost everything. Asks for something he can kill himself with. Says he killed Abby and Libby. Quote, "Poor little girls," Richard Allen says in one of his confessions. "I'm sorry." Again, he, quote, "didn't want them to suffer." Well, you know, if you didn't want them to suffer, why do you do this sort of thing in the first place, I guess, is the $1 million question. You know, if you truly...
No, I think that the $1 million question is why don't we have that confession on camera? Why that confession was not videotaped? Why don't we have any audio material about that confession? And why we don't have any notes from Monica Wall about that confession? So that's the actual $1 million question, in my opinion.
Didn't want someone to suffer. Why commit such a horrific crime in the first place? Okay, on to the things that everybody's been waiting for here in part one of this video. The questions that were asked by you, my viewers mostly. A couple of these questions I think I had, but the juror was monitoring my page and tried to address and answer most of your questions as well. If you have any other questions in the future, I'm probably going to shut the comments off on this video just to make you aware. Not because I don't believe everybody should have a voice, but because I know that nobody in their right mind believes that everybody's going to behave and act civilly. And again, this juror wants this to be on their terms, okay? That's important. And this juror has that right to have this information shared on their terms. If you disagree with something, if you want to get mad, go do it on my main page where I write notes, okay? Fight, argue on there. But under this video, you're not going to re-victimize the families. You're not going to victimize this juror who was kind enough to come forward and share this with us. I'm not going to allow it. That's why it's my channel, okay? Okay, here we go. Let's get into the questions, shall we? Here are the 9 questions we're going to address during this video that were answered by the juror. And I want you to remember that this juror gets up at the crack of dawn for her job. And it's a very difficult job every day. Again, we're not going to discuss what that is, where she's from, any of those things. But this is a person that works very, very hard during their day. So if their answers aren't...
I think her job is feeding Lauren her Stanley Cup starting at 6 a.m. and throughout the day. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The notes are really, really neat, really clear. It's very unlikely that those notes were taken by someone, by an actual juror. Right?
I mean, like everyone's saying, at the very least, if it was juror, then they would have had to bring those notes home and we're like rewriting them. and then highlighting and stuff. But if a juror is consumed by this every day of their life, I highly doubt that that is what they are doing when they get home. Highly doubt.
Yeah, 100%. Same here.
Perfectly written, or there's grammar or spelling errors. Remember, this is a person that has exchanged probably 40 emails with me now, and I have to filter through that information. They have to answer a ton of questions, and they're doing this as a service to us. They don't have to come forward, but she did. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the question out loud one at a time, and then I'm going to post what the answer is up here for each question. All right, here we go, everybody.
Shebooks, before starting the live, you were telling me about the rules in Indiana about the notes being destroyed. If I understood well, it's not a requirement, right?
Yeah, I looked it up, and it says for Indiana, they are not required to destroy their notes.
Okay.
So I just want to make that clear, because some states it is required, but in Indiana, according to Google, I did a Cecil, it says it's not.
Good. We're trying to be fair here. So let's continue.
Question number 1. Did any of the jurors wish or discuss whether they thought it would have been useful had Richard Allen taken the stand himself in his own defense? And here's that answer. I cannot, forgive me, there's a police ambulance in the background here. I cannot speak for other jurors. While the Fifth Amendment protects against self-incrimination, I believe if someone is truly innocent, then why not take the stand? Later, I found out that Richard Allen's well-being hindered his ability to assist in his own defense. I also learned from sources that these actions were attempts to manipulate his situation. And she doesn't state.
Well, in my opinion, she's a little bit right here. If I'm being accused of a crime like that, I would like to.
This part is so weird to me. Okay. It says, later I found out that Richard Allen's well-being hindered his ability to assist in his defense. So because of his mental state, because of being broken down, he wasn't really capable of helping much in his defense. But then they say, I also learned from sources that these actions were attempts to manipulate his situation. You learned that when? You learned from sources when you were a jury during the trial? And how did you confirm that? And who are these sources? And it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So I'm going to say something in that video that today I think differently. And I know it's not going to be very popular in the chat, but I'm not thinking the same way today. So I'm going to say that, in my opinion, Richard Allen should talk. But today I don't think the same. So I evolve within time. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worst. So
I completely agree.
To talk during the process and to give my own story. Go ahead.
I just want to say it makes absolutely no sense to testify for yourself, A, if you're in this mental state he was in, and B, if your alibi is I was there and went home and I was asleep when my wife came home at 5 p.m. I think this is something that Sleuth Intuition says a lot on his streams. I've heard him say more than once. It's like, well, why didn't he testify? Why didn't he give his alibi on the witness stand? Because no defense attorney would tell you, no defense attorney would ever tell their client to testify, first of all. Second of all, hell no, they're not going to tell you to do that if your alibi was, I was there and then I went home and I fell asleep. Because okay, great alibi. It's not even an alibi, really. I mean, it wouldn't hold up. A cop wouldn't say, oh, you were asleep at home? Oh, okay, you didn't do it. Nobody would go on the stand to sit there and say, yeah, I went down there, I watched the first platform, and then I went home and I fell asleep.
Sure.
It's stupid. It's completely pointless, and any juror would be like, great excuse, not.
Right. And at the time, I was thinking from my own point of view, like if I'm being accused, I'm gonna talk because I'm like that. But I was not thinking from the point of view of the person who is being processed. You have to follow the instructions of your lawyers, of your attorney. So at the end, it's not up to you. So I changed my mind. So today I don't think the same. I think that is gonna help clarifying a lot of stuff. I know that this is not always the best strategy. That for sure the lawyers, they advised Richard Allen to not to go to the stand to talk about it, but I think that would be helpful to clarify a lot of stuff. But it's just my idea, my opinion.
What sources those are, but I'm just giving you what her written answers for the questions that you and I asked are. Question number 2. What were the jurors' impressions of Richard Allen throughout the trial? And then I said, I know you sort of addressed this already because it's a question that I kind of asked in other emails that were sent back and forth between me and her. Answer: I cannot speak for other jurors. My impression of Richard Allen throughout the trial: he fidgeted a lot, rolled his eyes often, laughed at times. I noticed his attorney, A.B., and we all know who that is from studying this case, coddled him, placed his arm around Richard Allen often. And
I think that's not actually very significant. People are gonna be nervous. You're gonna fidget, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna act a little bit weird, even if you are innocent or if you are guilty. But that doesn't mean anything in my opinion. It's just you are just in the middle of this process. Everybody's looking at you. Everybody's gonna have some idea about how you move your lips, how you touch your nose with your finger, how you roll your eyes. I don't know. This is very subjective. If you are putting so much weight into that type of stuff, I don't know. Don't understand that, but anyways, it seemed that was important for this juror specifically.
Okay, so the only people who could have seen Rick Allen rolling his eyes would have been Gull. And was the jury directly, were they facing Rick Allen? Those of you who were in the courtroom? I know Oksana went. Peggy, it looks like, might have went.
That comment seems to be fabricated, like very aligned with the comment made by the judge. So I don't know.
Very aligned with the judge. The only people I've heard say that he rolled his eyes, and I hadn't heard laughed before. I had heard rolled his eyes and been disrespectful from Gull. But I also heard that from Murder Sheet, Susan Hendricks, the fucking main pro-guilters. So, and they all have the same script. I never heard anyone else describe him as having laughed that was in that courtroom. Never.
In the second and or third part of this video, depending how many I make, we're going to discuss more of those things in detail, what she thought of his body language, his behavior during the trial, and just her own personal feelings about what she saw in some of the email.
Was he laughing at the pictures, or was he laughing like, these people are thinking that I was able to do that? We don't know. I don't think he was that stupid to laugh at the pictures. This is a hearsay. I don't know, Shane. I don't think that is something that we can know exactly. And again, this is going to be very, very subjective. But anyways, my opinion.
Exchanges I had with her that give you a little bit more insight into what she was feeling and thinking, okay, as opposed to the evidence and the questions that were being answered here. So question number 3. Whoops. Let's give this a try here. Question number 3. Were there any defense or prosecution witnesses that you found particularly compelling that had you leaning toward guilt or innocence? Answer. C. Cecil. He was to the point. He looked at the jury when he spoke, and you could tell he was serious about his work. Melissa Oberg, forensic firearms examiner. She was on the stand the entire day. We watched videos of how to look for specific markings that a particular firearm could cause, as the inside toolings are not the same. And what I find interesting about this in my exchange with the juror is this juror was telling me that a lot of the experts that the defense team had come forward regarding the firearms and other evidence, I guess the defense didn't even have somebody physically look at this. They looked at photographs, but they never examined the actual evidence, just the photographs. So the defense team never bothered to have hands-on examinations of these things, only, quote, experts giving their opinions based on the photographs they were given. Whereas the prosecution experts actually handled these items, viewed these items under microscopes, things like that firsthand. So I found that interesting just from my own perspective. Here we go.
But at the same time, remember that when the defense, they wanted to bring some experts into the process, they were not allowed to do that. Remember that they wanted to have this FBI agent, but he was sick. They wanted to have the agent via Zoom, and that was not possible. So I don't know. And again, from previous information we have about the case, the whole tooling marks or the comparison between the bullets, the unspent round and the spent round, and the whole magic bullet situation, let's say, was not something significant for the jurors to convict Richard Allen. So I don't know. Let's continue here. We're gonna read your comments in a couple of minutes, guys.
And this is an interesting one. Did hearing Richard Allen's voice help your decision? Did Richard Allen, hearing his voice at the trial, help your decision? Answer. When I watched the first interview video and heard Richard Allen speak, the hairs stood up on my arms. And in subsequent emails with this juror,
this is really insane. I want to do a quick stop here. All eyes, your comment is interesting. I really think those were Turbo's notes. What do you think? So is the writing is similar? I'm really curious because I don't think you are the only one saying that, and I'm curious. So if you can comment about it, it's gonna be cool for us.
Well, someone was noticing that.
I don't know what to say about this, but
Turbo says a lot as one word. So we can look at the notes and see if they write a lot as one word, and we can break the case that way.
Yeah, we're gonna break the situation for sure. Imagine if you have Ron Logan there, they're gonna say the same thing. Oh, it's the same voice. Even Keegan Kline, they're gonna say, oh, of course, it's the same voice. They were listening to Richard Allen, so of course they don't have any other person to compare. You know, this is just super subjective. If one of the points that they take into consideration to convict Richard Allen was that the voice was a match, which is impossible to say or to conclude about, is really insane, in my opinion. Is bad. It's a very subjective situation here.
This juror told me that she absolutely believed when she heard Richard Allen's voice in those interviews compared to the guys down the hill stuff, that she absolutely believed that that was the same voice.
I want to know what she thinks now when she's able to listen to Ron Logan or to Keegan, if she still thinks the same thing or not.
When she heard it, that there was no doubt in her mind. Just her personal opinion. Again, she said here that the hairs stood up on her arms. Question number 5. Was there any specific part or parts of the interrogation video where you thought Richard Allen was caught lying? The juror's answer: caught lying. He said he didn't go out on the bridge. Officer, you said you were out on the bridge. And again, these are from her notes. Richard Allen: no, I didn't. Officer, you said you walked out onto the first platform. You said you were on the bridge. Richard Allen: of course I was. I told you that. I told you I was on the bridge. And there are several times during this case.
I think we have to give her that. This is a contradiction. If he said first that he was not there, and then he says, oh, yes, I was there, I told you that. Yeah, that's a contradiction. I understand why she was thinking that Richard Allen was lying about the situation. It's a good point. I have to say that. He's contradicting himself here, in my opinion.
Where Allen clearly gives contradictory information about this while being.
Yeah, Shane, I agree with you, but that's even worse. When you have Ron Logan and you have Keegan Kline, they sound differently. But when you compare Keegan to Bridge Guy's voice, and when you compare Ron Logan with Bridge Guy's voice, a lot of people say that there's a match. So it's even worse. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
Interviewed, you know, and she's right. There was one time when he says during his interrogation that he didn't go out onto the bridge, and he didn't tell his wife Kathy that he went out on the bridge. And then she later finds out after he's interviewed that, oh yeah, he admits that he did go out to the first platform. And so that shows deception, even if it's small deception or a small detail. Well, if he says originally, I didn't go out on the bridge when he's being interrogated, and then he says, well, yeah, I was out on the first platform later, that's contradictory information. And clearly that was a factor to this juror. And let me pull this back up real quick. He said he would have been wearing a black Carhartt, like maybe off-brand jacket and hoodie that day during his interview. Officers showed him the photo of the bridge guy, and Richard Allen said he could have been wearing a blue jacket. Also, where is his cell phone from 2017? When they searched this.
This is bullshit. This is bullshit. That's not what he said. It's not what he said. He said he could have been wearing a blue or black jacket, or black or blue. He said both at the same time. He certainly never said, oh, I could have been wearing a black Carhartt. I don't think he even said Carhartt. I think they might have suggested that. I can't remember that particularly, but he said blue or black. He certainly didn't say black, and then they show him a video and he's like, oh, I guess I could have been wearing blue. That never fucking happened. God. Anyway. Oh, yeah, in the phone, like you're going to say in this cryptex, they had access to this fucking phone in 2017. on the tip sheet, it says phone info given to Indiana State Police, ISP. Okay, so they had his phone info the whole time. All right, so fuck off with the, well, why didn't he have it a million years later? Like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Let me say hello to Eve. How are you, Eve? Waiting for your call for the next show together again.
House, he had a whole bag full of other old cell phones, but not that cell phone. Okay.
Yeah, but how do we know that there were no other cell phones missing? I understand that you can be like, that this is weird, but it's not solid enough. Let's say, yeah, there was a bunch of cell phones there, but it doesn't mean that the only cell phone that was missing was the one he had in 2017. And again, that cell phone was available for law enforcement at the time Richard Allen went to talk to Dan Doolin. They took the IDME, like the serial number of the phone. It's my opinion that law enforcement, they have all the data from this phone, and that maybe this is why they didn't want to use the geofencing data, or the judge didn't allow to use the geofencing data during the process. This is really very tricky here. I don't know, what do you think, guys, about the cell phone? But to me, the fact that the cell phone was not there, it doesn't mean that that was the only cell phone that was missing. He had a lot of crap in that garage. So, and again, the cell phone was available for law enforcement in 2017, and it's very fishy that they didn't allow the defense to use the geofencing data during the process. Why? Maybe it wasn't in the favor of law enforcement. It's very weird.
They take all kinds of other old cell phones from his house that he keeps, but yet strangely, that specific cell phone that he had that day has still never been found.
Or maybe it was found in the Wabash River. I don't know.
To this day. Were there any evidence or witnesses that made you think Allen could be innocent, or any defense information you thought made good points for him? Defense info. In my opinion, the defense focused fully on Richard Allen's mental state, how he was treated in prison. Witness, Dr. Dwenger, psychologist, oversees mental health of prisoners. She never met Richard Allen, discussed Richard Allen's mental illness, even though she never met him. Question from me, from the juror. Could Richard Allen be feigning his symptoms to not be put into general population as he was being threatened by other inmates? Dr. D. Dwenger answers, yes, it is possible he was feigning his mental health. Richard Allen was...
Shane, this is a very good question. Could be the Wabash River situation.
I don't give a fuck about you, Shane. So, all eyes, I need you to do a lookup for what Dwenger said, because I don't remember this at all. The defense expert saying he could have been feigning his symptoms. I know that prosecution witness, one of them said that, but I don't recall a defense witness said it. But I also have a horrible memory, so all eyes, if you could look that up, because I just do not recall that at all.
Let's see if All Eyes can help us with the answer.
We don't know anything about the Wabash River. What was found there? You know what's my theory? So I think that's a possibility. Maybe that was discussed during the process, but it's something that it has to be confidential and not released to the public. I don't know. maybe in one of those private sessions, let's say, between the jurors, the defense, the prosecution, without any public in the courtroom, that whole Wabash River situation could have been discussed. That's what I think. I don't know. It's just a hypothesis I have.
Examined for delirium and he did not have it. So this juror clearly thinks it matters that the defense's own witness thinks that he didn't have delirium, as the defense team was kind of alleging. And that a lot of this may have been a ruse in order to be, avoiding being put in general population, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I find it interesting when the juror is asked this question that she doesn't really answer with any information that thought could have been exculpatory toward him. And I know there's probably going to be a lot of people that say, well, there was a lot of things that the judge didn't allow, like the Odinism defense, et cetera, et cetera. But again, I find it interesting that the defense team even came out with an Odinism theory at all, even though it wasn't allowed, because there was never any real credible evidence that linked anybody to that defense. And I think that's why Fran Gall didn't allow that, because she said, hey, defense team, you have to give us some sort of credible information that there were other people out there. And in pretrial, the defense failed to meet that burden of evidence to include that information in a trial. Because
I agree. That was a
Okay, so all I said that Dwenger said that Walla told her and Dr. Karras, who was Walla's supervisor, that Richard was feigning. Dwenger did not say he could have been or he was feigning. So that's a little twisted. And hold on, Dwenger said. Now, do you have anything, all eyes, that comments on that being a question, like a juror question?
Let's wait. Feigning is like faking?
Yeah, feigning is meaning he was faking all his symptoms. I mean, and it's total bullshit. We know for a fact that the jurors saw videos of this man smashing his head against concrete. I don't think that the juror on Murder Sheet ever said that they thought he was faking that shit. So it's weird.
Yeah.
Thank you, Critical.
Thank you, Critical.
about a strategy from the defense, going into the full Odinism theory. To me, that was a mistake. In my opinion, it's gonna be easier to find a nexus if you go after Ron Logan or after the clients, but for some reason, they didn't want to go in that direction, the defense. And you know that my theory is because there's a potential link between the clients and Richard Allen. But again, to me, that was a mistake to go with the full Odinist theory.
Because otherwise, you just start letting them include anything they want in a trial, and it becomes a three-ring circus of just made-up BS, potentially. And the defense team could just start wasting people's time and throwing against the wall to see what sticks, what doesn't stick, to muddy the waters. And that's why pretrial hearings exist and evidentiary hearings exist in the first place, is to make sure that only pertinent information and discovery and evidence is allowed into the trial. And I know there's going to be some people who say, well, you know, there's some stuff that should have been allowed, shouldn't have been, you know, that's why Richard Allen has appeals. That's why he has attorneys working for him. That's not my job to determine. Again, I'm just sharing information here with everybody. And let's move on to question number 7. Now that you've researched the case way more after the trial, do you think any claims of Allen's supporters have made have any merit to them? Or are most of those things nonsense in your opinion? Richard Allen's supporters. Richard Allen described himself as the bridge guy from what he was wearing, basically, is what she's saying. Witnesses saw bridge guy, but not Richard Allen, because Richard Allen had his identity hidden behind his overdressed coat, hat, and tucking himself. Not one witness saw two persons dressed exactly the same. Supporters focus on the fact that there was no DNA, therefore Richard Allen is innocent. All I have to say is they should have been in the courtroom because everything they've heard and seen is not the whole picture. There is more that they haven't heard and haven't seen.
What could be that? Because we had Tom Webster, we have Andrea Backhart, we have a lot of people there reporting. So everything that was said in the presence of the people that were in the courtroom, of course, we know that, I think. But again, my point is that if there were some private meetings or sessions where the public was not there, that's another situation. Maybe that's the information we don't know yet, or we are not gonna know never, because again, one of the possibilities here is that there was a negotiation with the clients, and that information that is not being released to the public and that is gonna remain confidential is related to the Wabash River search. And we know that Jerry Holman said after the conviction of Richard Allen that he cannot talk about the Wabash River. So that could be the information we haven't heard and seen, in my opinion.
I know I'm annoying with that, but I was not that lost when last week we were reading the testimony or the deposition of Jerry Holman. There are some paragraphs where he talks about a potential negotiation, immunity. He uses the word immunity when he talks about Keegan. So I'm not saying that happened, but what I'm saying is that maybe I was not that lost. Sorry, but sometimes I want to brag about it. Sorry for that.
You and your Wabash River, man.
I know.
Question number 8. Do you have any message for the victims' families? For the families of the girls, I'm so sorry. Bless you, and I very much wish I could have walked over and given you all a hug. So clearly, this is something that emotionally affected this juror, and that is this juror's message to the victims' families, that she wishes she could have walked over and given them all a hug when it was all over. And it's just heartbreaking, again, what has happened in this case. Question number 9. Do you have any message to Allen's wife or family about his conviction? Question 9. Do you have any message to Allen's wife or family about his conviction? And this one's going to stir some people up, I think. I am sorry for Richard Allen's daughter. I can't imagine the adverse effects. Richard Allen's wife. You tried to keep him quiet on the phone. You knew. Those are powerful words.
Bullshit.
Okay. Those are powerful.
Bullshit. Anyone who's heard those fucking calls knows that Kathy Allen was freaking out because her husband was going through a fucking mental breakdown and was trying to stop him from saying anything because she knew things were not right. Not because she fucking knew what he did and was like, shh, what a fucking idiot. And yeah, anyone who heard those calls should have known that. And so again, it's another answer that's manipulated in a way to favor the guilters, like someone in a gallery fucking watching this shit go down, taking notes. Bullshit.
Words. And I think the juror makes a valid point. Again, the juror is sorry for Richard Allen's daughter. Can't imagine the adverse effects that this would have on her. And to Richard Allen's wife, the juror says, you quote, tried to keep him quiet on the phone. You knew.
If you are a relative of the person that is being treated that way in that type of correctional facility, if you know that the state of mind of your husband is not in the right place at that time, and maybe you're gonna do the same thing Kathy did, trying to keep him quiet. I remember that at one point she was saying like something like, "Who is with you there?" I don't know. I understand the juror, but at the same time, I think we cannot blame Kathy about this whole situation, let's say, especially trying to keep him quiet. Maybe that's the normal way a wife is gonna act if she thinks that he's being threatened, or if she thinks that they are under some type of medication. I don't know what do you think about these guys, but yeah, it's food for discussion for sure.
Just powerful stuff from this juror. And there's actually a 10th question I have. It's not going to be posted with a question, but it's something that I pulled up as a bonus for you here in the first video. Whoops. Let me remove this. I apologize. I clicked the wrong button. And let me pull this up here.
Fish is mad.
Because there was another question somebody else asked online at the last minute of this juror to hopefully answer. And here we go. She says, this is the juror writing this in an email to me. "I'm writing the answers in order you asked, but is it okay that I work on it tomorrow night? I get up at 4:20 in the morning, so I go to bed early. I also saw someone..."
I think that I'm gonna stop the Unsolved video there.
Yeah, you can stop it
I
now
know
too.
this is gonna be a little bit polemic.
My brain cells. Good God.
So that was the video. It was good that I saved that video in my channel, so we have some receipts, as you like to call this type of stuff. And again, yeah, to me the notes that he presented during that live are really suspicious. I don't believe that they were taken by a juror at the time. And I really think that he got played but by that woman. I don't think the guy's malicious. He was just dumb. He didn't do his minimum due diligence to ensure that that person was actually a juror, and he got played. That's my feeling. So I don't know, what do you think, Shibooks?
It could go either way.
Yeah.
Maybe he was fooled. Maybe he was in on this with help from fucking Turbo and Fig and Murder Sheet. And I think the reason was because when that first juror interview came out, it was getting a lot of shit. There was a lot of backlash on like the intelligence of the juror, and what the fuck did they actually get to see, and why is no other jurors speaking out? Why did only one speak to Murder Sheet? So I think that Fig Solves and his little crew wanted to continue to push the narrative that they really got the guy, because they didn't see us shutting up.
Sure.
And we never will. But that being said, with him, I don't know. But that being said, when all this came out, then we started questioning this for obvious reasons. Like, whose notes are these? It doesn't seem like a juror's at all. And Andrea Burkhart ended up posting something that said, these look a lot like the notes that I got from the person sitting next to me in the gallery. Do you have that screenshot?
Yeah, let me present that. And yeah, I don't know who was behind that situation. And when you say the magic word fig solves, that guy's dangerous, that guy's malicious. So I agree with you. If that guy was behind the whole situation, yeah, it's very possible for sure.
That's so zoomed in.
It's very clear.
Okay, here we go.
This is Andrea. Yeah, go ahead.
She goes, that looks a lot like this paper one of the trial regulars gave me when I ran out one day. Now, if you scroll down, I will note that the papers that Andrea shows have like square holes, and
I don't know if I have the whole picture. I made a video with the picture you sent me, and I don't think I have the entire picture here, but yeah, we got the idea.
Yeah, no problem. And the jurors' notes had a circle, so if it couldn't have been that, I don't think it was the paper, that exact notebook, but it could have. So I know a lot of people brought multiple notebooks because it was a long trial and they had to keep writing and writing and writing. So who knows how many notebooks someone might have had and used. So just because they're square versus circle doesn't necessarily mean that person didn't have different notebooks to use. Yeah. And then Oksana, she notes that these are not juror notes. These notes are taken by someone attending the trial. The first witness is underlined. Third-party note, a juror would not be making these kinds of notes. It's a guilter trial goer, and every juror had one of those legal notepads, not ruled notebooks. And dipshits are so dumb that they forgot the jurors are not allowed to take their notes with them after trial. So we know that in Indiana, they don't have to destroy their notes. But
according to Google, sometimes Google is
right.
Yeah.
But I think it was Peggy pointed something out that was really wise. She caught something. It said something like an exhibit was published. It said an exhibit was published in the notes. A juror would not write that.
Good point. Good point. Can you read this one? Stephanie Michelle.
So Stephanie says, yep, I knew this. Oh, that's a wrong one. That's not the one. That's the one I said, don't put that one.
No,
that was for my other drama. Okay. Don't do that one either. Let's try to go to, okay, there you go. So on Reddit, someone posted, Andrea Burkhart is claiming that the notes displayed in the video are on paper that are similar to the paper she borrowed from a fellow trial goer and not an actual juror. Andrea never said who, never ever once even gave a hint as to who could that have been, right? So if you go down, can you go down on that picture?
I think so, yeah. Give me 1 second. No.
Okay. So can't write on the bed. Okay, that's not it. So below that, where it says embarrassed stretch 6, is where Grayson enters the chat. Okay, so we know this is Grayson because, well, I'll say why, but it says 1,000%, but low blow to accuse someone like she did. I was so nice to her too. Even if we had opposite opinions, and even after she very rudely and falsely tried to accuse Lauren and I of cutting the line one day, I never once was rude to her, nor did I ever publicly do anything to harm her reputation. Okay, well, no one did that to you either, because no one named you. And we know that that was Grayson because she also hopped on Twitter in the midst of all this to start saying the same thing, basically. She said the same shit on Twitter. So that's how you know both people was Grayson, okay? So doth do protest too much, in my opinion. I thought it was really odd that she just popped up out of nowhere and was like, oh, by the way, I would never. So we had our suspicions that maybe it was Grayson. It was one of Lauren's little helpers that was writing notes for her. Someone in the chat mentioned that Lauren might not have been there on the 30th, and it would make sense that Grayson would have been the one taking notes and maybe even like copying them over after the fact, making them look nice for her. But we never had a writing example from Grayson that we could really like compare. So it just kind of went nowhere. Like, it seems like bullshit is probably bullshit. After Tim got Raz like over and over and over again, he ended up taking the whole video down and never continuing the juror interview at all, which is fucking weird in itself. So cut to all this drama with Hidden True Crime, Lauren, whatever, and Grayson. The police reports came out, all the exhibits and shit. And someone on Twitter was kind enough, Callie's Angel, I believe Callie's Angle is their name on Twitter. They provided a screenshot of Grayson's handwriting on the police report. And I personally was stunned by how similar it looked. This is alleged. I am not a handwriting expert by any means. No fucking clue. But it stunned me how similar it looked. So if you have that screenshot, we can go back to Grayson's police report.
That one is, which one?
Further down.
Let me scroll here a bit. That one?
Yes. Okay. So that stunned me. Like, it already looks so much like it. It's very nice. It's, it has a lot of the same characteristics. I wish I had my own little screenshots that I put on Twitter, but something I noticed right away that Grayson does, that the note taker does, is the G's. All the G's either loop at the bottom or they don't. So some G's will just like go to almost like a square-like shape at the bottom, and the other G's are looped. And they like interchange between those G types in this police report and in the juror notes. So I notated that as being really odd. And another thing I noticed is there is a large space between the last letter of a word and where they put their period. Oh, yeah, go to mine. Hey, kitty.
Do you want to play this video? You want me to play it or not?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's relevant, I think.
Have some male pen pals writing her.
Oh, I'm sure she already does. I have some juicy scoop for you, actually.
Give it to me.
So a girl who used to work for me, okay, in the true crime circuit, who went to these trials, I found out that she has been messaging with Lori, putting money on her books, pretending to be a Mormon herself, that she's like relating to her on all sorts of levels. I sent her to the first Lori trial, and I never knew any of this. And I just found this out maybe 2 weeks ago. I was so sick to my stomach. Like, I couldn't sleep. I was like, because she started messaging her while she was covering the first trial. And so I don't know if it was like she was fangirling over her or became so fixated she didn't realize like this is real life. She's not a celebrity, because you know how people are like obsessed with Chris Watson stuff too.
Right.
But full on started like a pen pal relationship with her.
So wait, this girl was working for you like with research and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And so how had you already let her go before you found this out?
She left and works with another with a different news company.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it could be like a lesbian thing?
No. I think it's more of a fangirl type situation.
And just wanting to get close?
Yeah, and like,
and just being the one that's like, I'm the closest to this woman, and all.
But she's not sharing it with anybody. That's what's so bizarre. She never told me that they were in contact, and this started while she was still working for me.
So how do you message someone?
They have prison portals where it's almost like email.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
But she didn't. But not to your knowledge, has she gone to visit in person?
Not to my knowledge.
And then she gives her money for like the noodles or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And like created a whole fictitious backstory of her own upbringing. She's not Mormon. She said she like did all of this research trying to relate.
connect, yeah.
And just bizarre. So bizarre. And she was at this trial covering it too for the new company that she works for.
Crazy.
Which I'm like, do you not have any integrity? Like,
No.
And yeah, it goes so beyond that too, because she has advocated to be an ally for the two kids, that she has talked with some of the like the family members, Kay and Larry, and
The grandparents of the
the
little
grandparents.
boy.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I think I said survivors.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's messaging Lori and befriending her. It's so sick. It makes me sick.
I do think there's a
Okay, so this is regarding, this is like a big rumor that is going around, because I was in a chat and I was hearing that Grayson worked for Annie Elise, 10 to Life or whatever that show she did was, and that she ended up leaving working with Annie Elise and started working with Lauren from Hidden True Crime. And Juicy Scoop does like Juicy True Crime too. And Annie Elise had done this interview 6 months ago. It's from 6 months prior, where she said all that. And we've confirmed that Grayson did in fact work for Annie Elise and then moved to Lauren, but we also know that another girl named Lindsay, who's involved in all this hidden true crime drama, she also worked for Annie Elise and then ended up working with Lauren from True Crime. I'm hearing some conflicting stories that the timeline doesn't make sense for Lindsay to be the one. I don't know. We can't confirm if it's Grayson or Lindsay. Glare, the Glare of Turtle Boy and Karen Reed fame, has come out and kind of alluded now to the fact, actually he was saying that Lauren, what happens when everyone finds out that Lauren is putting money on Lori Daybell's books. And he had alluded to something else, that he's friends with someone and he knows some info, but he can't share it unless the person gives him the go. Okay, so it's looking like it could be Grayson, but we don't know. Now, tonight, Kesha is doing that show on, I think it's starting around now, but she's doing the difficult research, and she's giving some information about Lauren and Lauren's ties to family members, because some of the Lori Vallow Daybell members really don't like Lauren and Grayson, and some of them really love Lauren and Grayson. So there's some drama that should be coming out that might allude a little better. Okay, but back to the writing. So the handwriting, I noticed that the "the" looked similar to the other "the." If you go to the next one, the H is a little lower. That's like a nicer written one. Okay, and then the W, the "was," compared to the next "was." It's just shorter, but it looks similar.
Yeah, it's very similar.
And you have to take in mind that this was a police report written when she's, trying to get it all down and she's all frantic, freaking out, versus, very neatly transcribing notes over. That could attest for the differences. If it's not Turbo, it could just be Turbo's notes. I think we've gathered at this point. Who knows? But I just thought it was very interesting, and Grayson is allegedly very unhinged, so I would not put it past her at all. Allegedly.
No, it's not. It's not Cripsy. I think it's Shibug is a dog, maybe. No, great. I don't know. I think we covered the whole subject tonight. Shibug is. I don't know if you want to add something else, or it was great.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was fun. I'm excited to see how this develops with all this hidden true crime, Lauren Grayson drama shit. I can't get enough of it.
Sure.
Have you been watching that at all, Cortex?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very entertaining. So,
She's nuts. Seriously.
yeah,
Oh my God. What the fuck?
absolutely. And she's another one where, you know, in the beginning, she was coming at the Delphi trial kind of like unbiased. And then she got like groomed basically by Susan Hendricks and Jerry Holman and Nick McClellan. And then suddenly she was just like completely biased, one-sided coverage.
Yeah.
So,
No, and it's really bad that now she's using her position of power to destroy other channels and other small channels. Come on, what the fuck, man? And
yeah.
he was saying, she was saying in one of her videos in that 9 hours video, I'm not Amber Heard. Yeah, right. You're worst. Anyways, more to follow, huh?
More to follow. Yeah. Once I get my course done in expert handwriting, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
So I'm just gonna end the video here. We have more than 100 people tonight, thanks to Shibugis, and I would expect 100 likes, guys. So please do that. And let's play the trailer. We have cyborgs here, Shibugis and Cryptex being futuristic cyborgs. So this is the end of the live tonight. Thank you so much, guys. Stay in touch.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Verification failed. Integrity lost. Fake Juror. Illusions undone. Neon justice burned by the sun. Cryptex and Shibugis expose the ghost on air. In cyber truth, nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Fake Juror, digital ghost in disguise, playing court in electric lies. Truth bleeds out through the fiber line. Cryptex and Boogies caught the glitch in real time. Gretchen 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 real time. Voice with no face, echo in delay. Answers too perfect, rehearsed in decay. Shibuki smirks, Tim, your mask just slipped. The matrix cracks, the hoax is flipped. Brain knocks is flipped. Their host is flipped. Verification failed. Integrity lost. Fake